You want to give it a couple more minutes, or you think we are okay to start? Give it one more minute.
Are you recording it, Francisca?
Yes, it's recording.
Okay. Okay, cool. There's Mary. Hi, Mary. We got to meet this week. I was just going to text you.
All right, I think we can get started.
Yep, sounds like a plan.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody. I'm happy to see a lot of familiar faces. For anyone who might be watching this at a later time, my name's Francesca. Just to introduce myself again, I am a registered dietitian, and right now working with TAT Health as an intern, finishing up my Master of Public Health. So I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to reach so many of you, and hopefully you learned something. So this is the fourth nutrition seminar in our Healthy Heart Ambassador blood pressure self-monitoring program. So we've had one pretty much every week for the past month. So in today's seminar, we're going to talk about heart healthy eating for life. So what you can do to make sure that you understand this dietary approach and how you could apply it for the duration of the rest of your life. Because what are you going to do when these seminars end? You know, we're not going to have these weekly classes. So the goal for today is just to summarize everything that we've been learning and hopefully answer any of your questions and make sure that we're all on the same page. So these are the topics for tonight. We're going to talk about, of course, nutrition and blood pressure facts. We'll talk about fats and oils, some specific vitamins and minerals that we should be paying attention to. And then we'll talk about some healthy snack ideas and what to do when you are dining out. Because like Sylvia was just saying, Mother's Day is coming up, and I know that's a big day that a lot of people go out to restaurants. So we want to be sure that we're making heart healthy choices when we go out. And I do have a couple of videos to share with you guys towards the end of the presentation. They're only about 5 minutes long. All right, so by now we know that our food choices directly are impacting our blood pressure. So we need to consider nutrition as a part of a healthy lifestyle that will help keep our blood pressure well managed. So eating for a healthy heart is a key factor in our fight to prevent cardiovascular disease, which includes things like heart failure, stroke, coronary heart disease. So when we eat a variety of fruits and vegetables, not only is that going to help manage our weight, but also our cholesterol and our blood pressure. So what is a healthy dietary pattern? Well, it emphasizes, of course, fruits and vegetables, things, healthy grains like whole grains and low-fat dairy products, lean cuts of meat like poultry and fish, nuts and legumes, and then our healthy fats like olive oil, avocado oil, and we'll talk more about all of those healthier fat options. But also, We want to make sure that we're limiting our salt or our sodium intake, our saturated fat and trans fat, and highly processed sugars. We want to make sure we're avoiding those. So that'll help us lower our blood pressure too. And a healthy eating pattern can also be adapted to your cultural preferences, your food preferences, so it can be customized. And whatever medical conditions that you're dealing with, whether it's high blood pressure or heart disease or diabetes. So taking these small steps to eating a healthy diet will provide us really with a lot of long-term benefits to not only our health, but also our heart. So it is recommended that we eat a variety of foods from all of the different food groups, even fats, and we'll talk about specific heart healthy fats. And then I just wanted to mention last week, we talked about looking for that American Heart Association, that heart check mark to see if the foods that you're eating and that you're picking up at the grocery store are meeting the American Heart Association criteria for things like saturated fat, trans fat, sodium, cholesterol, and all those important nutrients. So I don't know if any of you got a chance to check out the American Heart Association website and kind of explore what foods have those heart healthy check marks. Okay, so we need to think about a lifestyle, of course, that's promoting a healthy heart and then including a variety of fruits and vegetables. So this slide breaks down a typical, a basic day into the recommended servings. So you have on here a lower calorie diet and then your average 2,000 calorie diet. But it gives you some good examples here. So on the left, you have the different food groups. You have your grains, your vegetables, fruits, dairy, protein, fats, and then at the bottom, your sugars. And then it tells you, well, how many servings of each food group do I need per day? So just for matter's sake, we'll say you're on a 2,000 calorie diet. As far as your vegetables, you really need to aim for at least 4 or 5 servings of vegetables per day. And then on the right side, it gives us some nice examples. So what is one serving of vegetables? What does that look like? Well, one serving would be a cup of leafy vegetables. So basically the size of a closed fist. Or half a cup of cut up raw, like cooked vegetables, carrots or broccoli. And then, another example would be half a cup of vegetable juice. So you're aiming for about 4 to 5. So there's only 3 listed here as examples. But if you're trying to get 4 or 5 servings per day, that means at a minimum, you need 1 to 2 at every meal, right? If you're eating 3 meals a day. So you can jot this down, or I can pause, you can take a picture of it, we can send this out. This is all being recorded, so you can refer back to this slide, because I think this is really helpful, especially if you're not really familiar with how many servings of the different food groups do I need each day. This is a good starting point. So if you look down at the bottom, I just want to point out that the sweets and the added sugars is really 5 or fewer servings per week. So that one's actually not per day, that's per week. So it's important to pay attention to that too. So you can think about a typical day in your life right now. How are you doing? Are you meeting the recommended daily servings? Are you making sure you're getting a variety of foods from the different food groups? And start to think of it in terms of what your days look like. All right, this is another good visual, because I'm a visual learner, so these always help me out a little bit better. So when you look at a round dinner plate or a plate of food, this is how you want to design it. This is how you want to serve yourself when you're building your plate, especially for maintaining our blood pressure. So you want to make sure that at least half of the plate is filled with fruits and vegetables. And then you have about a quarter for your protein, your lean protein, and a quarter for your healthy whole grains. So as far as fruits and vegetables, I know we went into this in a lot of detail last week. Want to make sure that you're getting either fresh fruits or vegetables or frozen is the next best thing. And if you have to get, canned or, vegetables aren't in season that you want, making sure that you're draining them, rinsing them off, and getting rid of any excess sodium that you can. Mhm. So we'll talk about sodium first. It, of course, is important to remember to look for all the different ways that we can reduce our sodium intake. And I know that we talked about this in the very beginning. Most Americans are eating way too much sodium. So that's why they're at such a higher risk for high blood pressure and heart disease and stroke, because we're just eating way too much sodium. Because we're not really taught where to look for it or how to look for it. But now you guys should be experts by the time the seminar's over. So unfortunately,
I just wanted to make sure that I was.
we're getting way too much sodium. So of course, we want to make sure that we're eating more servings of fruits and vegetables during the day. We're eating out less, which we're going to talk about, and we're trying to cook at home more, which I know is a big challenge because our lives are very fast-paced today, and we're much more on the go. So cooking food at home isn't always the easiest. But that's why I think it's really important that we do talk about how to manage eating for maintaining our blood pressure when we do eat away from home. So I don't know if anyone wants to share. You can maybe come off mute or you could put in the chat. Think about it. What are you guys doing now that you've heard 3 lectures from me so far? What have you guys been doing to try to work on reducing your sodium intake? Is there one thing that you've been focusing on? Maybe you're paying attention to reading nutrition labels, and that was something you didn't do before. Or maybe you're just trying to cook more food at home, or you're meal prepping. It's always good to think about what goals you're working towards and what steps you're taking to make sure that you reach those goals. All right, so we'll start talking a little bit about specific fats and oils, because sometimes we hear misconception that we don't need fat and get rid of all fat in our diet. Fat's bad, fat's evil, but this is not actually true. Dietary fats, they're essential and they have certain functions in our body. So we do need healthy fat in our diet. That is a must. Fat gives our body energy, it supports our cell growth, and it protects our organs. It keeps us warm. I mean, it has so many functions in our body. So it is definitely a misconception that we don't need any fat in our diet. That is not true. Fats also help our body to absorb nutrients and produce important hormones. So there are 4 major different types of fats. Most of you have probably heard of them, but I don't know if everyone is familiar with them. So we'll go through them one by one. The first one is our saturated fats. So our saturated and our trans fats actually raise our LDL cholesterol, which we talked about in the beginning. LDL is the lousy or the bad cholesterol, however you want to remember it. So saturated and trans fats are the different types of fats that are actually solid at room temperature. Whereas your monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats, they can actually help to lower our LDL cholesterol, and they're actually beneficial to our heart health. So these types of fats are liquid at room temperature. And research has shown us that omega-3 fatty acids actually decrease the risk of things like abnormal heartbeats. They also help to decrease our triglyceride levels, and they can in turn then help to lower our blood pressure. So these are just some examples. You can read through them while I talk a little bit, but these are good examples of things that you might have in your diet right now that you maybe, hopefully not so maybe for the top 2, but consume on a regular basis that maybe you're going to think twice about. And then as we get towards the end of the list down by the omega-3s, maybe you have salmon once a week. So you can pat yourself on the back. That's a great source of omega-3 fats. So take a look at these examples and see what are you consuming a lot of, or what do you need to consume more of. There are so many different sources of fat, so this is what we need in our diet. I did just want to mention in particular the trans fat. Our bodies do not need trans fat. And that's why it was actually removed in a lot of foods, years ago. So foods, technically, if you look at your nutrition labels, like we've been teaching you guys, foods can still be legally sold if they contain 0.5 gram or less of trans fat per serving. So just because it says there's no trans fat, if you see something like a hydrogenated oil that it's still hiding in there is in a small amount, yes, but it still can be sold if it has less than about 0.5 gram. So something to just point out and just be aware of. Because our trans fats can be hidden in a lot of processed food, a lot of baked goods, things like frozen pizzas or biscuits, pies, things like that. So just be careful for looking out for the words hydrogenated oils, partially hydrogenated. Okay, some examples of omega-3s. I was saying nuts, seeds, cut different types of fish like salmon or albacore tuna, sardines. These are great sources of omega-3 fats, which our body needs. Our body needs omega-3 fats. These are our healthy fats. They help to reduce our risk of heart disease and stroke by lowering our triglycerides and raising the good cholesterol, the HDL levels of cholesterol in our body. All right, some specific vitamins and minerals that are critical to our heart health in particular. The first one is vitamin E. So studies have shown that a diet rich in vitamin E actually produces a reduction of more than 40% in the risk of heart attack and heart disease. 40%, that's a big number. And it's found in things like nuts, different seeds, and different types of cooking oils. The second vitamin is vitamin D, which of course our sources are listed here. We know we get vitamin D from the beautiful sunlight. We also get it from milk and fortified cereals. Vitamin D helps to treat things like diabetes and cancer, and it also helps us build strong bones and prevent heart disease. Potassium is a huge one, and you might have already heard this because it's often associated with lowering blood pressure and sodium intake. So we're going to talk more about this, but one of the primary benefits of potassium is its ability to help lower our blood pressure, which a lot of people might not know. So it can in turn then, of course, lower our risk for things like heart disease and stroke. So these are just a list of some good sources of potassium up here. Things like green meats, spinach, cantaloupe, tomatoes, potatoes. I see them on there. Yep, low-fat dairy. All great sources of potassium. And then last on the list is magnesium. So magnesium is an essential mineral that has an effect on our heart. And the National Institutes of Health reports that magnesium can actually help maintain our blood pressure and our proper heart rhythms by keeping the muscles functioning properly. So good sources of magnesium are nuts, beans, spinach, potatoes, avocados. Just want to see and make sure everything's okay in the chat. I think someone has a question. Yeah, oils are where you read so many contradictions. So a seminar where the presenter recommended never using seed oils. I've heard olive oil shouldn't be cooked or heated. I'm pretty much down to almond and MCT oils. Okay, so you primarily cook with almond and MCT oil. So olive oil is I've not heard that it shouldn't be cooked or heated, but it does have a relatively lower smoke point than some of the other oils. So if you do a lot of baking or putting, roasting things in the oven, then you might want to switch to something like an avocado oil, just because the smoke point is a little bit higher. But olive oil
I
is
do have a question concerning potassium. My potassium pretty much does not register, and I don't see the connection, that there's a connection between blood pressure medications and low potassium, which seems like a contradiction. I take a pill that sustains my potassium because of the lisinopril hydrochlorothiazide medicine. And I have found that no matter what I do, I told my doctor, well, before I go on that potassium protocol, it was 50,000 I used for 6 weeks, once a week for 6 weeks.
Okay.
I told her, well, I'm going to try. And I mean, I went on full blown research, Project White Beans, dried apricots. I don't know why dried apricots are like up there, all the greens, everything. My potassium did not move at all. Not at all. It was the biggest waste of time. And then I'm back on the potassium pill protocol for the 4th time.
So you're saying you couldn't get your potassium up even through your diet? How long were you actively working on your diet and focusing on potassium?
Well, I've been had low potassium ever since I've been on blood pressure meds, which has now been about 15 or 16 years. I know it's when my daughter entered preschool, my blood pressure went crazy. So there's probably no connection because everyone in my family has high blood pressure, but that's how long I've been working. I didn't notice I wasn't good about getting those potassium levels till I had this current doctor. And that's when I discovered how dangerously low my potassium was. And I would say that's been about 4 years.
Okay, that's a long time. Yeah. Well, Dion, if you want, we can maybe chat at the end because I'm curious. I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Right.
Sounds
But we're
good.
going to continue to talk about potassium anyway, because there is a big emphasis on potassium, like you were just saying. So yes, it does help to reduce the effects of sodium. So the more potassium we need, then the more sodium is being excreted through our urine. So potassium helps to relax our blood vessel walls. So when our blood vessel walls are more relaxed, then in turn our blood pressure is more relaxed and it will be reduced. So as far as potassium recommendations, you have it up here for men and for women. For women, it's about 2,600 milligrams per day. However, as we get older, it does become a little bit more difficult for our kidneys to remove potassium from our blood. So you don't want to overdo it. Like Dion was just saying, if you are hyper-focused on potassium, then as we get older, that can lead to some kidney issues. So it is absolutely always imperative that before you start either taking supplements, which we'll talk about, or if you're doing any drastic diet changes, that you're hyper focusing on something that you're trying to correct, that you're speaking you're in constant contact with your primary care doctor, or if you're seeing a specialist on the side. Okay. So the American Heart Association has some specific recommendations for to get these key nutrients that we're talking about. We want to make sure that we're eating a balanced and healthy diet and including foods from all of the different food groups, of course. So I have up here the omega-3s. So the recommendations for omega-3s as far as if you're consuming fish, you really want to try and make sure you're getting at least 1 or 2 servings of healthy fats in fish per week, as long as you're not following a vegetarian or a vegan diet. But those are the recommendations. If it's you feeling like it's too difficult to get omega-3 supplement, omega-3 fats through your diet, then yes, a supplement may be needed. But you always want to make sure that you're, telling your healthcare provider or your primary care physician what supplements that you are trying, because there might be contraindications. You always want to make sure you're having your lab work done, just like Dion was saying, to know where your levels are at before you just start adding supplements into your regimen. And of course, that's not the main recommendation. You want to make sure that you're trying first to consume these vitamins and minerals through our diet. And then if that's not working, then we add on a supplement. So I want to talk a little bit about snacking now. I do have a video I want to share with you guys. Up here are just some examples of different healthy, nutrient-rich snacks. You have some sweet, some crunchy, some chewy, some when you're feeling really thirsty. Just some good examples up here. And of course, you want to make sure that whatever snack you're either buying at the store or creating, for yourself at home, that you're checking the nutrition label to see what the proper portion size is. Because you could have a really healthy snack, but if you're way overdoing it on the quantity, then it might be just as bad. So I'm going to just close this for a second. I just want to show you guys just some smart snacking tips. It's only about a 5-minute video. In this video, we will be talking about snacking the smart way. We will discuss the who, what, where, why, and how of snacking to help us become a successful snacker. Smart snacking can be done as part of a healthy eating pattern, including balanced meals. It includes eating every 3 to 4 hours while you're awake. This helps to maintain blood sugar levels and greater satiety levels to decrease the risk of overeating large portions. Snacking is appropriate for many populations and purposes, such as controlling medical conditions like diabetes, hypertension, adult weight management, anyone taking certain medications, managing hunger, and simply adding nutrients to your diet. You want to make sure that you start with a balanced morning meal and incorporate appropriately sized snacks and meals about every 3 to 4 hours. Weight management is ultimately about total calorie intake, so it's important to have planned evening snacks with appropriate calories based on the overall daily intake. But you should use caution with bedtime snacks, as these are sometimes dictated by factors other than hunger, such as your mood or stress level. Some medications may need to be consumed with a snack or a food, so this is a consideration if taking evening meds. And snacking can be done anywhere with proper preparation and planning. Now I want to discuss how to build a healthy snack. The components include a source of carbohydrate and protein, and healthy fat is a plus. Some benefits of adequate fiber may be weight management, blood sugar control, heart health, and even gastrointestinal health. So here's an idea on calorie range for an ideal snack. But just remember that the appropriate calories per snack depends on the total number of calories needed per day, which is individualized. Plus, you must take into consideration the meal or snack before or after. So here are some good protein and carbohydrate snack ideas. Some of these can have easy substitutions. You can try Greek yogurt instead of regular yogurt for an extra kick of protein. Most include healthy fat, lean protein, and a carbohydrate source. But remember, some healthy fats can be high in calories, so it's important to mind portion size when it comes to including these items as part of a snack. Here are some more snack ideas. Protein foods such as cheese and nuts combined with whole grains, high fiber starchy vegetables or fruits can help increase satiety. Just be sure to notice the portion sizes of carbohydrate foods here. As far as granola and protein bars are concerned, make sure you're reading the labels and choosing foods with fiber and protein in each serving. A good source of fiber is considered 2.5 to about 5 grams per serving, and an excellent source would have even greater than 5 grams per serving. There are many easy, healthy snack options for on the go, be it on a road trip, a flight, or just busy running errands throughout the day. A big component to healthy snacking is advanced planning, so consider stocking your fridge with some of the items listed so that an option is always available when it's needed. If you find yourself purchasing snack items from a vending machine or a convenience store, the same snacking guidelines apply as we just discussed. So try to get information from the front of the package regarding calories, protein, or whole grains. You can even look up the nutrition information online or on a phone prior to purchasing it from the vending machine. It's important to check the serving size since sometimes vending machine packaged snack options are larger than just a single serving. So just to summarize here, as far as smart snacking in your daily lives, most individuals really should be snacking, and you should aim for about 5 or 6 meals and snacks per day. And it's really important, even when trying to lose weight, to make sure that you don't skip any meals. Try to choose snacks that include a source of protein, carbs, and a healthy fat. Make sure you're watching your portion sizes, and remember, plan ahead. Okay, guys, so I just wanted to share that with you because sometimes it can get overwhelming. You know, you want to make the effort and you want to have a healthy snack, but time gets away from you and you're just in a pinch and you reach for something at the convenience store or at the gas station, and you know, you're not thinking about, well, is this really a balanced snack? Because you want to get the most bang for your buck as far as nutrient density. So you want something that's going to keep you full for until the next time that you're planning to have a meal. And you want something with, you know, a little bit of protein, a little bit of fiber that helps keep us full. But you also want to make sure that you're getting some healthy fats and maybe incorporating some peanut butter or, you know, some hummus with your pita crackers and carrot sticks, you know, making sure that it's just well balanced instead of just grabbing for a single serve bag of chips that is going to taste good probably for about 30 seconds. And then you're going to see that the rest of the bag is filled with air and you're going to be hungry again in about 20 minutes. So it was a wasted snack. So I just wanted to give you guys some examples because sometimes it can be difficult to come up with things. All right. The next part of the summer I want to talk about is what to do when we go out to eat with our family and friends, especially now with Mother's Day coming and a lot of holidays and celebrations. So it's important to know how to navigate the situation and not get, you know, either peer pressured or feel like, you know, well, I could just go to town because, you know, I'm out enjoying myself and I don't need to think about making sure that I'm feeding myself the proper fuel that our bodies deserve. So it's important to understand what's on the menu at the restaurant, and it's important to know what you should be looking for. So sometimes foods are prepared with a rub on them, which could be very high in sodium. So you want to ask for a lower salt option if it's available. And then once you understand what's on the menu, it's important that you feel confident enough and comfortable to ask for more information. If the information that you need is not clearly listed on the menu, you can ask the server. And if they don't know, they can ask the chef who's preparing the food. So don't be afraid to speak up and ask the questions because at the end of the day, you want to make a healthy choice. And, you know, right now we're working on our blood pressure specifically. So you want to make sure that you're not ruining all the hard work that you maybe have done during the week and ruining it on a Friday and Saturday because, you know, you went out with your family and friends and were too ashamed to ask what the ingredients were in a recipe or how it could be modified to better suit your needs. So I have some tips. I know there's some on here, but I also have another video that I wanted to share with you, give you some more ideas of what to do when you're out. Eating meals away from home is pretty common today, and it can be difficult at times to manage your special diet needs or food intake when meals are eaten in restaurants. There's less control of how foods are prepared when we eat away from home. However, there are things you can do to make eating out a healthier experience. Here are some tips for healthier restaurant dining. First, be sure you choose a restaurant that offers healthy choices. Avoid all-you-can-eat buffets. Call ahead to ask for menu or nutrition information. And have a healthy fruit or snack with a glass of water before you even head out the door. Choose water or a low-calorie beverage. And if you drink alcohol, be sure to alternate with water to limit some of those excess calories. Look for menu items that say light or low calorie. Choose low calorie, low fat dressing, and even ask to have the dressing on the side. Order your salad as a main dish instead of an appetizer. If they give you a bread and butter basket, be sure that you don't overindulge before your entree even arrives. Order fish entrees more often and select chicken and turkey dishes that are cooked without the skin. You want to limit any sort of fried, crispy, sauteed, or stuffed entree items. They're typically higher in fat and calories. And also want to limit high sodium foods, such as things that say they're pickled or smoked or in some sort of soy or teriyaki based sauce. You can always ask for your sauces and gravies to be served on the side so that you can control how much is going onto your entree. And if you're not sure how a menu item is prepared, simply ask your server for more information. Choose steamed vegetables or even order 2 servings of vegetables. You can also ask your server to box half of your meal to go before even serving you, or you can ask them to remove your plate as soon as you feel full enough. And when dessert portions are generous, share them with other people that you're dining with. You can always try fresh fruit or even a fruit sorbet. So remember, read your menu carefully and look for clues that show the food was cooked in a healthy way. So you want to choose menu items with the words steamed, grilled, roasted, and try avoiding menu items with the words flaky, deep fried, crispy, creamy, scalloped, country style. When deciding on what beverage to choose, water is typically best, followed by unsweetened teas or coffee. You'll want to avoid items such as soda or milkshakes. And when choosing an appetizer, you should aim for a salad and steer clear from any fried or breaded cheese or salty French fries. And if bread is being served, ask them if they have any whole grain bread or rolls and try to avoid any sort of biscuits that are prepared with a lot of butter. Now, when deciding on your side, choose a plain baked potato or rice, as well as steamed vegetables. Anything in a cream sauce will add unnecessary salt, fat, and calories to your meal. And if your meal comes with condiments, ask for them on the side. If you're following a low sodium diet, try to avoid any dill pickles, green olives, soy sauce, steak sauce, ketchup, mustard, or barbecue sauce. And if you're able to order fish for your entree, choose a baked preparation instead of fried. If you end up with meat as your entree, try to cut off any visible fat and avoid high sodium content items such as processed sausage or bacon. Chicken can be a great entree option too, as long as it's baked or roasted. Fried or breaded chicken often comes with a lot of salt and unnecessary calories. And lastly, for dessert, ask to share a smaller portion with those in your company. That way, you're likely to eat less and you still get to end your meal with a satisfying treat. You can visit this website at myplate.gov to download a free tip sheet for more information. All right, guys, so these are just some tips I wanted to share with you. This MyPlate website, they do have a really good tip sheet. I do recommend if you go check it out. Just for any additional information that I might not have covered, but I tried to be as thorough as possible because I wanted to show you that there are so many different things and different ways that we can manage eating out so that we don't feel like we just have to throw in the towel and that's it. I'm going out, so I'm not going to eat healthy tonight. It's just there's way too many options for us, and there's way too many healthy alternatives out there. We just sometimes have to get a little bit more creative, and now you'll have the knowledge, so you'll know what to do next time. And of course, we're talking about maintaining and managing our blood pressure right now, but these tips can apply for life. This is, if you approach eating out in this manner, yes, you're going to help lower your blood pressure and keep it low, but you're also going to help manage your weight. You're going to help manage your sugars. I mean, the list goes on and on. So if you start to adapt this approach and take it more seriously and more as a whole, you will have incredible long-term health benefits for not only your heart, but your whole body in as a whole. So, all right. This is pretty much what the video I just showed you guys, avoiding things that are like extra fat, extra sodium, being careful of what you choose as salad bars, because sometimes they can get out of hand too. Having your meal wrapped with half of it to go and having only half of it served to you. So these are some tips. Okay, this next part, before we get to wrapping this up, I ask you guys if you could participate in this and maybe put your answers in the chat or come off mute and say them out loud. I want you guys to read through this list and see if you can figure out, not necessarily for each one, but generally how much sodium is in one serving for each of these items listed, and try to pick out the one item that you think has the most sodium in one serving. This is tricky, but if you start to think about it, if you've been reading your nutrition labels and you've been turning things over and looking at the sodium content, then you should have a pretty good idea of the amount of sodium that some of these items might have in them. Some chips or pretzels, or turning the cans of soup around, frozen items, single serving a slice of bread. Take some guesses at how much sodium you think is in one serving for these items, and which one do you think has the most sodium? You can put it in the chat. Some of them are pretty close, but there's definitely one that stands out. Anyone have any guesses? No? Nobody wants to guess?
I was gonna guess potato chips is the highest in, I did not see frozen pizza. I completely just didn't even see it. Oh, I say it's a toss-up between potato chips and frozen pizza, but if I had to choose, of course, I mean, I had some potato chips yesterday that were organic and they had very low sodium. I'm gonna say frozen pizza.
That's a great guess. That's definitely up there. Think about the serving size too. Think about the serving size too.
You're absolutely right. 1 ounce versus 4 ounces. Yeah.
But the frozen pizzas can get pretty high up there in sodium. So that's definitely a good guess. That's right. That's right up there. But actually, the one with the most amount is this tomato soup, the cans of soup.
Darn it.
Yeah.
See, but you didn't say canned, so I wasn't thinking canned.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would have given it away easily.
Yeah, if you're making your own tomato soup, which I would hope you are, but not always possible, then you're totally controlling how much sodium you're putting into that, and you're controlling the ingredients. But pizza's right up.
I don't get a prize, so oh well.
But do any of these surprise you? I mean, now that you've been looking at the labels and paying more attention to sodium, I mean, does anything on here surprise you? Or you were thinking about, if you were looking at a bag of potato chips, you're kind of assuming they're around 150 milligrams for a serving. I mean, these numbers make pretty good sense based on products that I see at least out in the stores and things in my pantry. But we gotta be careful with the soups. I know I spent a lot of time talking about that last week. So just go to show you how important it is to make sure we're reading our nutrition labels, looking at the serving size and the sodium content on a lot of these foods. So last thing, I just want to talk a little bit, discuss what we were, chatting about. We talk about our snacking habits. Take some time. Think about what are some of your favorite snacks and what are your go-to snacks? Because I want to hear from you guys. Maybe if you have questions on how you could make them lower in sodium or a more balanced snack. What are some of your favorite go-tos? Can you maybe get a whole grain version of your chips, or can you replace prepackaged fruit cups with a cup of fresh fruit? Can you replace salty chips with something else? Is it the salt that you really wanted, or was it just something that's crunchy and crispy?
I really love making those roasted chickpeas
Ooh,
in
yeah.
the air fryer.
Mhm.
That way you can control, you have to rinse them off because, as you mentioned last week,
Yes, ma'am.
but that's one of the things I use as a substitute. I make kale chips a lot. Thank goodness for the air fryer, because without air fryer, I wouldn't be here. But yeah, I make kale chips, which are really easy. I've been making them. We have a Sprouts. I guess a lot of cities have Sprouts and some don't, but they have started doing this thing where they will mark down the price of something. So I got 2 massive bags of already chopped and cleaned kale for 50 cents.
2 bags. Wow.
It's just, I don't know what's going on with Sprouts, but it's every Sprouts, and I have 3 near me. And so I've been making kale chips, if not once, twice a day.
That's amazing. I wish we don't have a Sprouts around here, but if you could stock up on things like that and make yourself batches and keep that as a snack, I mean, more power to you. Those are 2 excellent snacks already. You can even save those chickpeas, which I'm sure you do, and then put them on your salad. Give a nice crunch
Right.
to your salad. Yeah. Excellent. What other snacks do you guys have on a regular basis, or what's your go-to? Anyone want to share any?
Hummus.
Hummus, another good one. Always good to have hummus on hand. Dipping.
I like to do vegetables like cucumbers and carrots actually. Yeah, I always have those handy.
And I think I was in one of your classes, Tammy, and you had them so nicely cut up and everything. And that's always key for me too.
Yeah,
So that when I need the snack, because I usually
yeah,
to the last minute, and I
yeah.
need the snack now, I don't want to, take out a cutting board and knife and get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
When you have it already
right.
prepared, it's so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, those are great snacks. Excellent.
Francesca, I also have to say that I've been seeing these recipes for yogurt bark on Instagram, so I decided to try it because it only involves like stirring, and that's the extent of my culinary abilities.
I thought that
And
yeah, did you try it or not yet?
oh my gosh, I've tried it several times,
Okay.
different recipes. One recipe that I made for Renee, who's in our cohort, and she approved, it was yogurt and smashed banana. There was smashing involved, and then stirring, and I added hemp seeds, and it called for, I had walnuts, I think it called for pistachios, and so I mashed those. And then they had it, not only did they add chocolate chips, but then they dipped it in chocolate after you froze the yogurt, which I thought was extreme. So I used I always have a dark chocolate bar. I like the endangered species chocolate. And I just kind of poured a little bit on and forgot I had a nut butter and chia seeds instead of the chocolate chips and the chocolate. And it was just really good. It could be overdone, so I can only make it twice a year.
Yeah, I see. I'm not experimenting with yogurt bark. I have to find these recipes because I have not tried it yet, but I'm imagining it sounds pretty easy, and that is a great snack because you can store it in the fridge and just take out, break a piece off. Sounds like it has a lot of healthy fats, some good protein. So, and it's a little bit of
Yeah.
a salty, a sweet snack, and depending on if you put some nuts in there, that could satisfy a lot. So that's an excellent snack. I gotta try that one. I've only made bark once, and it's around the holidays, and I won't share that recipe with you guys because that
Oh.
one's not healthy. But all right. Well, thank you guys for participating. I like to hear what, I always like to get inspiration from you guys too. You give me good ideas. And I hope that you were able to take at least a couple of helpful tips from these seminars. I know sometimes they can feel like they're a little bit long, but there's so much information that unfortunately we don't get enough of until it's kind of maybe too late. So I hope that you can implement some of these things into your daily lives. And, for right now, you're focusing on blood pressure, but these strategies and these skills are going to help you for the rest of your life as far as your health, not only your heart. So I thank you guys for joining me. Questions can go in the chat or just come off mute. It's up to you. Stick around for a couple of minutes, talk to you guys, and that will wrap up the nutrition seminars.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you
Thank you
guys
so
for
much.
coming out.
You.
You know what? Before y'all leave, wait, let me, no, not you, not you. I wanted to, I didn't take attendance because Socorro's not here, so I'm just getting y'all credit. All right. I got Mary, I got Sylvia, I got Dion. These are the people, and Bridget. All right, guys. Just want to put that down because if you're in a blood pressure program, you have to attend these seminars. So y'all met the requirements for the seminars. And y'all enjoy the rest of y'all week. All right. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a good evening.
Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye. Guess you can start recording. Francesca. So I can, not so much editing. That's what be taking me so long. I gotta chop it up. Get the beginning and the end and get it all. Oh, okay. Mary's behind. Mary, how are you? You busy tomorrow? How's your schedule looking tomorrow?
What time tomorrow?
I'm pretty much free most of the day.
Okay, because I usually go on Wednesdays, I go and visit my sister-in-law and make sure she's okay and everything.
Okay.
So it'd have to be later in the afternoon, like maybe 5.
Okay.
Is that
5 p.m. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So,
All righty.
all
All right.
right.
I'll send you a Zoom link.
All right. See you tomorrow then.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Mary.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Oh, ladies, sorry I missed y'all meeting yesterday. We got some new people I was getting in, so I'm sure y'all
Yeah.
worked it out.
Yeah.
Recording on your end, so I think you have to end the recording.
Oh, am I? Oh,
Oh,
okay.
really? I have to? Are you sure? No, I don't.